Thanks for joining us on Little Rockers Radio. Today we are talking about our children's fine and gross motor skill development. We're looking at how being physically active and playing sport and sporting activities helps with our children's development. And the perfect person to talk to is Carmen Dodds. She's a Paediatric Occupational Therapist and a Ready Steady Go Kids franchise owner. Hi Carmen, how are you?
Hi, good, and you?
Really well, thanks, Carmen. Can we start off this conversation just by asking you to define what fine motor skills and gross motor skills are?
Sure. So gross motor skills are those skills that actually use the large muscles of the body, so the large muscle groups, including the arms, the legs, and the trunk, and use whole body movements, so to perform everyday functions, so to walk, stand, run, and sit upright. And then fine motor skills are using the smaller muscles in the hands, fingers and wrists. Children need their fine motor skills when they are writing, holding and manipulating small items, doing buttons of clothing, turning pages of a book, using cutlery, cutting with scissors and typing. What's really important to note is that we need all these gross motor skills to be really developed because they lay the foundations and are the building blocks to refine fine motor skills. So well-developed fine and gross motor skills will help a child be confident when they're playing games at school, get involved in sport and undertake everyday tasks independently.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? I was reading an article on news.com.au. It wasn't recent, I think it was from last year, and it's saying that in the past 30 odd years there's been a decline in our children's basic ability to perform simple tasks like throwing and catching, which seems really simple, like throwing and catching just seems so simple. But how does being physically active from a young age and participating in sport or sporting activities, how does it help with our children's development?
Yeah, certainly. Being physically active and participating in sport will help refine and allow a child to actually enhance their gross motor skills, and that in turn enhances their fine motor skills. So it just gives them an opportunity to master skills such as eye-hand coordination, their balance and postural control. And like you said, simple catching and throwing does obviously require eye-hand coordination. And eye-hand coordination is really important for other tasks, so reading, writing, and tying shoelaces. So in the end, it's basically will relay back onto their academic performance. I'll give you some examples. So balance and sitting upright at a desk, we can see that that's really affected with the decline in children that are less physically active. There's many advantages of having good balance, and the most important is to have a strong core and have a stable body posture. Because these children will learn more effectively because they're able to then spend less time and less energy keeping themselves upright and have more energy to learn new skills that they want to achieve. A child that has poor balance is consuming all the energy to maintain a stable body position. They then have very little energy to learn a new concept in the classroom, maintain themselves upright, maintain a good pencil grip to complete writing tasks. They may even struggle to manipulate buttons and zips and scissors, and even knives and forks when they're eating at the table because they're focusing so much on keeping themselves upright.
And that ties into some other research that I was reading earlier this week out of the UK from early in September, and it was showing that our kids are less likely to be physically ready to start school at the age of 4 and 5. They're just not able to perform those tasks that you were talking about because they haven't developed those skills yet. Now, we're touching on fine and gross motor skills when we talk about the benefits of physical activity, but there's so many more benefits than that. What are some of the other benefits of being physically active from a young age?
Yeah, being able to participate in gross motor activity is obviously essential, like I said, to and optimal for their development. These gross motor activities help stimulate the foundations for physical, social, emotional, and even cognitive development, and in the end, academic performance. Sport and physical activity has lots of indirect and direct benefits. As I explained, one huge benefit is to improve strength, their endurance, their coordination and balance, which in turn helps with learning, keeping healthy and reducing the risk of cardiovascular disease and obesity. Obviously, sporting helps them develop healthy bones and muscles and ligaments and tendons, so you're less likely to get injuries. Sport helps them problem solve, develops a healthy self-esteem, and facilitating lots of social skills and making long-lasting friendships at school. Obviously, sporting clubs are really positive and they help develop a child's belonging and sense of activity. And then there's endless underlying soft skills with benefits in doing sport as a preschooler. One being obviously to enhance school readiness, so teach them social skills and emotional skills and allow them then to go into the classroom and be comfortable in a classroom environment. When they do sport as a preschooler, they're learning to separate from a parent. They're learning to share equipment and take turns, respecting others in the environment that they're in and respecting the equipment that they're using, taking directions from somebody else other than a parent, so from a coach, engaging in group activities, meeting new children in an unfamiliar environment like they would at school, and being able to focus on a task in sport is going to help them focus in the classroom. And then learning all the number recognition and colour concepts is also a soft skill or underlying skill that they'll learn just by participating physically in sport.
So many benefits, some that we're probably really well aware of and some that we didn't realise. Another thing that I've been talking to a few school mums about actually is missing that opportunity to be able to join in on sport activities from a young age, and how children, if they're not involved from a young age, they can miss that window of opportunity. It's much harder to slot into sporting activities, football, basketball, netball, etc. once you're older, to try and slot into teams with children who have been playing those sports for a long time, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. And it just gives them all that confidence. So just by learning the sport, learning how to participate, children can sometimes be ruthless. So out on the playground, a child's not going to explain how to play tennis or how to play footy or how to play cricket. They just want the child to be involved. So sometimes children that haven't had that previous experience are sometimes socially excluded on the playground because, as I said, children can be pretty ruthless. And if they join in, children will play with them. But if they don't know how to join in, it becomes pretty difficult.
It can do, yeah. So tell us, as parents, well, what can we do as parents or carers who are listening? What can we do to help our children develop their fine and gross motor skills, and what's appropriate for what age?
Yeah, so I guess if we look at the milestones for a toddler, they're learning to get balanced. They learn to be confident with their motor abilities, and they're testing out all their new skills. So how to move with holding a toy, how to bend down and pick up things, how to climb stairs and jump and run. And then they start developing their fine motor skills, so start using utensils and crayons. A preschooler is consolidating all their gross motor skills, and they're really establishing and refining their fine motor skills, so they can catch and throw a ball, they can ride a tricycle and start learning to ride a bicycle, and they're confident climbers. And all that's going to assist by them going into the classroom and be able to cut, use scissors, hold their pencil correctly. So, I'd encourage parents to obviously visit all your local playgrounds. All different playgrounds have different equipment, and all the equipment requires different skills. So you can practice all these skills. So climbing's great to develop your upper body strength and your core strength. Going up and down stairs, teaching them how to swing. So lots of children don't know how to swing. And playing games that includes lots of gross motor skills. So running, hopping, jumping, skipping, balancing, playing Follow My Leader and Simon Says. So the playground's a great place. Using your sidewalk, so getting them to jump over cracks, getting them to run, getting them to create artwork with chalk on the sidewalk. I love fences too. They can create beautiful artwork with the sidewalk, chalk on the fences, and using a vertical surface to draw. You're developing all that strength in your arms and shoulder girdles and your core. And obviously chalk pen is also a great tool to use and practice fine motor skills. And then I always encourage parents too to use a spray bottle and spray all the chalk off the fence. That helps strengthen all their hands and fingers. And drawing and creating, just practicing their letters and numbers is great with chalk, and it just washes off. And then being creative both indoors and outdoors, you can be both physically active. So if the weather's bad or if it is a good time to be outdoors, create lots of obstacle courses, set up different stations and use everything that you've got at home. Focus on jumping and climbing and crawling through things, crawling over things. Being an animal, so hopping like a bunny, jumping like a frog, walking like a bear, lots of dancing. That encourages you using lots of motor planning and coordination. So things like the hokey pokey or the chicken dance are great. Taking a child to ride a bike or skip with a rope, playing ball, so using small balls, large balls. That helps your child focus on developing and improving their catching and throwing skills and their kicking skills so they can be more confident with ball skills. Yeah. Activities, so we see a lot of children that are in front of the TV or in front of iPads. They have really poor core strength and shoulder strength, and that's when they have poor problems with their fine motor skills. So activities that really focus on their core and their shoulders, things like doing wheelbarrow walks, walking like a crab or walking like a bear, doing push-ups. And then I always encourage parents to spend a lot of time with their kids on their tummy, because that helps develop the core strength. So lying on your tummy to watch TV or lying on your tummy to read and colour in. lying in your tummy to have your snack or play games. And then always getting children involved in the home. So that involves lots of heavy work. Heavy work it will let a child stay focused and calm, and helps lots of sensory needs. So what I mean by heavy work is doing lots of tasks. So chores, and it just puts pressure through all those joints and muscles, and it actually helps calm children down and let them focus. So things like moving furniture, get them to help carry bags of groceries, get them to help empty the dustbin, carry the laundry, unpack the washing machine, pull all the wet washing out. I always give my kids old socks and they help with the dusting. Water the plants, so carrying a heavy bucket is heavy work. I love using barbecue tongs and get them to help you pack away the toys or pack away the dirty laundry, pick up puzzle pieces or bits of Lego that are lying around the floor using barbecue tongs, because that's a lot of fine motor coordination. Sweeping and vacuuming, and even throwing socks into the washing basket. So make it into a ball and get them to play a game and see how many socks they can get into the washing basket. And then obviously there's loads and loads of multi-sport programs around. So if that's not enough, they get them involved in sport from a young age.
Yes, my goodness, there's loads of stuff there. And everything that you've reeled off are things that little kids just love doing anyway. And I know that I used to rush around the house. I must get all of these things done so then I can play with the kids. But what I should have done in hindsight is included them in the cleaning up activities, because it helps them and they love it anyway. And I was reading something or having a conversation, I think the other day, with someone that it's much harder. My children are now 9 and 7, and it's much harder to get them up, cleaning their beds, cleaning their rooms, picking up things around the house if you don't start it from a young age with them. It's so much harder once they're older. Now, outside of everything that you've mentioned that we can do around the home, at what age can we start to get our children involved in outside programs like Ready, Steady, Go Kids?
So our program starts from the age of 18 months. So many programs do start from the age of 18 months, so as early as that. Our Get Ready program is designed to give toddlers an opportunity to just put their motor skills into practice. It's a lot of encourages free play and just explore all the sports equipment that's on offer. So as young as 18 months, and it goes all the way up to the age of 6. Our Get Ready program is at about the age of 2.5, and that's just a basic introduction to sports. At 3, you'll start helping them focus and developing on a child's gross motor skills and refining their fine motor skills in our program. And then our Go group is from the age of 4 to 6. So these children have established all their gross motor skills. So it's a bit more advanced, and it's aimed at getting them ready to be actively participating in sport at school. So when they do transition to school, they, like we discussed earlier, they know all the rules of the sport, they know what equipment's used, and they know how to get involved in the sport so that they can then go off onto school. They know what sport they've enjoyed, and they can transition easily onto the playground and play all those games and things on the playground, but also then select a sport that they'd like to continue with when they transition off to school. And I think it's important to get our children having a love of sport, because it just helps them, just creates those foundations for having a good attitude towards a healthy lifestyle, and hopefully that continues through childhood and into adult life.
Yeah, it's great for laying the foundations, isn't it? It's also really good for a lot of the other sporting activities such as AFL, Auskick, basketball, netball. They all start from around the age of 5 as well. So I think that programs that encourage preschoolers to get involved in sporting activities are a really good stepping stone, not just for school, but also for other team sports as well, that children start to get involved in at around the age of 5.
That's exactly, yeah.
If anyone's interested in the Ready, Steady, Go Kids program, they can visit www.readysteadygokids.com.au. All the links are also on our website at www.littlerockersradio.com.au. Thanks very much for joining us today, Carmen.
Thank you very much for having me. It was great chatting.
That was Carmen Dodds, Paediatric Occupational Therapist and Ready, Steady, Go Kids franchise owner on Little Rockers Radio. Thanks for listening.